Okay. Can we start the corrosion part then? Is the slide visible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do we see in this slide? This slide gives you the जो metals होते हैं बेटा, different metals, depending on what is their electrochemical potential, they are arranged in a series. बिकॉज अगर तुम गैल्वेनाइक सेल की कंस्ट्रक्शन याद करो, उसमें दो प्लेट्स थी, एक एनोड एक्ट करती थी, एक कैथोड एक्ट करती थी. विच वन विल एक्ट एज एनोड, विच वन विल एक्ट एज अ कैथोड इन अ पेयर ऑफ two plates? That will depend upon how these that will depend upon the material of which those plates are made. And if you see here, as we go up, these are more susceptible to corrosion. That means these are less noble. Magnesium is more susceptible than zinc. Zinc is more susceptible than aluminium, like this you see. As we come towards the downward side of it, this becomes more and more noble or more less and less susceptible to corrosion. So if you see, अगर एक प्लेट उसमें प्लेटिनियम की होगी और एक मैग्नीशियम की होगी, so magnesium will act as anode, platinum will act as cathode. If एक प्लेट माइल्ड स्टील की होगी और एक लेड की होगी, तो लेड will act as cathode, माइल्ड स्टील will act as anode. और एक माइल्ड स्टील की होगी, एक एल्यूमिनियम की हो या जिंक की होगी, तो जिंक will act as anode, mild steel will act as cathode, and that is why you see in the sacrificial anode system जो कल हम बात कर रहे थे कि शिप के हल के बाहर लगी होती हैं, that's why the zinc is used as the zinc anodes are welded outside the ship in the underwater hull, because the zinc being more susceptible to corrosion compared to mild steel. When a galvanic cell is formed between the ship's hull, which is made of mild steel, and the zinc anode, zinc will act as anode. Anode will be eaten up, and that will protect our mild steel, which will act as a cathode. Is that clear, beta? ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
And this is only for stagnant water. There can always be some change if we change the environment. चाहे वो पानी को हम flow करा दें, तो there can be some change. कोई ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, but this series is for stagnant seawater. Then what are the factors that affect the rate of corrosion? These are simple things. One is temperature. It's directly dependent on temperature. More the temperature, more will be the corrosion. Moisture, directly proportional. More the moisture, more the corrosion. pH value. pH value decides whether a solution is acidic or alkaline. pH scale हमारा 0 to 14 का होता है. इसमें 7 न्यूट्रल होता है. 7 से कम होगा तो एसिडिक होगा. 7 से 14 के बीच में होगा तो वो एल्कलाइन सॉल्यूशन होगा. ओके, सो लेसर द पीएच वैल्यू, लेसर द पीएच वैल्यू मतलब 7 से कम होगा, दैट मींस एसिड होगा, ज्यादा एसिडिक होगा. जितना सॉल्यूशन ज्यादा एसिडिक होगा उतना ही कोरोजन ज्यादा होगा. सो पीएच वैल्यू आल्सो अफेक्ट्स द रेट ऑफ कोरोजन. नेचर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रोलाइट गाइस, ऑब्वियसली अगर उसमें सॉल्ट वगैरह ज्यादा होंगे तो दैट विल इंक्रीज द रेट ऑफ कोरोजन. Then presence of impurities in the atmosphere, we know if you have impurities like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and all those things in the industrial areas, if you leave a bare plate outside, the corrosion in the industrial areas will be will be greater than what you would have in non-industrial areas because of large number of impurities in the atmosphere. So atmospheric impurities will affect which type of corrosion? They'll obviously affect atmospheric corrosion. So these are the factors on which the rate of corrosion would depend. I don't think there should be any question on it. Do you have any? On this slide? Any questions on this slide, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
How do we control the corrosion? The way you control fire, you try to break the fire triangle. Similarly here, you try to break the corrosion triangle if you have to prevent corrosion. The control of corrosion then accordingly may be achieved by either preventing formation of corrosion triangle, that is galvanic cell. अब galvanic cell बनने ही मत दो, corrosion नहीं होगा. दूसरा है हम galvanic cell को कंट्रोल करें. There is a difference between these two things. दोनों में galvanic cell की बात हो रही है. पहले वाले में कह रहा है कि आप galvanic cell बनने ही मत दो. No galvanic cell, no galvanic corrosion can take place. सेकंड में ही सेइंग कंट्रोल द गैल्वेनाइक सेल, कि आप गैल्वेनाइक सेल तो नहीं रोक सकते, लेकिन आप गैल्वेनाइक सेल को कंट्रोल करो सो दैट द मटेरियल दैट यू वांट टू प्रोटेक्ट, दैट इज योर शिप्स हल, इन द गैल्वेनाइक सेल acts as the cathode and not as an anode. That is called controlling the galvanic cell. First is preventing the formation. Second one is galvanic cell is formed, but you are controlling it so that your area of interest acts as cathode and does not act as anode. That is controlling the galvanic cell. Accordingly, the corrosion control may be achieved through, we all know this, by taking due consideration at the bimetallic joints, because one of the problems we said types of corrosion was the bimetallic corrosion, wherever the two metals are joined. By providing protection. Protection can be provided by sacrificial anode like zinc anodes or by impressed current system. And lastly, by applying the protective coating of a paint. So to prevent corrosion, you can either for bimetallic joints, you can take due precautions, or you can protect it by sacrificial anode or impressed current system, provide protection, or you can have a protective coating so that you keep the air and moisture out and that protects the material. Any questions on this particular slide, beta? Jis pe bhi ho mere ko, you can interject and clarify. None? Okay. How do we take care at the bimetallic joints? You can basically bimetallic joints क्या करना है, आपने उनको insulate करना है ताकि उनके बीच में आपस में पानी ना आए. पानी उनके बीच में आएगा, that will act as electrolyte, and then you will have one of them acting as the anode, which will be eaten up. Cathode will be protected. So the best way is to insulate them, and these are the ways we can insulate them. Here you see, this is the steel deck. ये aluminium superstructure हमें इसे connect करनी है, तो क्या किया? Instead of allowing this to touch the steel structure, हमने बीच में ये neoprene के gaskets डाल दिए. ये neoprene का gasket आ गया, और ये जो bolt भी डाला है यहाँ पर, इसके ऊपर भी neoprene की sleeve डाल दी, ताकि ये steel और aluminium एक दूसरे के टच में ना आए. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, उसके बाद आपने सीलिंग कंपाउंड से इसको सील कर दिया ताकि इनके बीच में कोई पानी जाने के चांस ना रहे. इफ यू टेक दीज प्रिकॉशंस, then you can prevent bimetallic corrosion if the bimetallic joints are duly insulated. वही चीज यहाँ कर रखी है इसने. अगर रिवेट के केस में यहाँ भी आप नियोप्रीन गैस्केट या कोई सुटेबल मटेरियल का, यहाँ पे प्लास्कोट कह रहा है, बट गैस्केट ऑफ सुटेबल मटेरियल, एंड देन यू सील द gap so that there is no risk of water going into it. Another way of protecting bimetallic thing is, instead of using these sleeves, insulating sleeves, what you can do is, here you have the steel structure, here you have the aluminium structure, और ये आपने bonding wire electrical bonding कर दी ताकि ये दोनों के दोनों metals they are at the same potential. If they are at the same potential, then there is no electrochemical difference between them, voltage difference between them, and then that will prevent formation of a galvanic cell. So ये bonding wire से भी हम इस problem को address कर सकते हैं, या हम उसको insulate करके कर सकते हैं. This is how the bimetallic joints can be protected from corrosion. Is that clear? This slide is clear, guys? Then we have the cathodic protection. Cathodic protection is, तो एक मिनट, अब ये एग्जांपल किस चीज का आया? ये एग्जांपल आया, यू आर प्रिवेंटिंग द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ गैल्वेनाइक सेल. हमने कहा था ना अभी कि या तो हम गैल्वेनाइक सेल का फॉर्मेशन प्रिवेंट कर लें, या हम गैल्वेनाइक सेल को कंट्रोल कर लें. ये जो बायोमेटेलिक जॉइंट्स में हम कर रहे हैं, वी आर प्रिवेंटिंग द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ गैल्वेनाइक सेल. ये then we can also have cathodic protection, which will be basically controlling the galvanic cell. Only where metals are immersed in an electrolyte can the possible onset of corrosion be prevented by cathodic protection, because electrolyte में inserted है, galvanic cell बनेगा, but उस cell को आप control कर रहे हो, rather than not allowing the cell to be formed, which you cannot do, you are trying to control the cell. The fundamental principle of cathodic protection is that the anodic corrosion reactions are suppressed by application of an opposing current. That means you do not allow your metal of interest to act as anode. Superimposed direct electric current enters the metal at every point, lowering the potential of the anode metal of the local corrosion cells so that they become cathode. आपने अपने मेटल को, जो इंटरेस्ट का मेटल है, उसको आपने बेसिकली कैथोड बनाना है, and that's how that can be protected. There are two types of cathodic protection installations on ships. One is sacrificial anode system, and the other is impressed current systems, ICCP. Impressed current system. Sacrificial anode systems are the metals or alloys attached to the hull that have more anodic, that is less noble potential than the steel when immersed in water. For example, zinc. These anodes supply the cathodic protection current, but will be consumed. They will sacrifice themselves in doing so, and therefore require replacement for protection to be maintained. And that's why these zinc anodes need replacement in the dry dock at periodic intervals. This system has been used for many years. The fitting of zinc plates in the way of bronze propellers and other immersed fittings being common practice. This is used in liquid tanks as well. Modern anodes are based on alloys of zinc, aluminium, or magnesium, which have undergone many tests to examine their suitability. High purity zinc anodes are also being used. I think now you can, those of you who were finding difficult to recall, these are the zinc anodes, correct guys? ड्राई डॉक में कुछ देखा था ऐसा, याद आ रहा है जिसने भी ड्राई डॉक किया जहाज को? नहीं बोलना, कोई बात नहीं. Then we have impressed. क्या तूने क्या ड्राई डॉक नहीं किया?
ड्राई डॉक नहीं,
कोई बात नहीं. तो ये बेटा जो दिख रहा है पिक्चर में, ये ऐसे अंडर वाटर पोर्शन में इस तरह के ये प्लेट्स वेल्ड की जाती हैं, एंड ये प्राइमरीली जिंक की होती है, जिंक के अलॉय की होती है. तो क्या होगा कि जैसे अच्छा यहाँ पर इस एरिया में वी नो दैट risk of bimetallic corrosion is higher because you have the this propeller which is of a different alloy and you have the mild steel. Okay, तो यहाँ पर इनकी इंटेंसिटी ज्यादा कर देते हैं, बाकी एरिया में इनकी स्पेसिंग थोड़ी कम कर, मतलब ज्यादा कर देंगे. यहाँ पर स्पेसिंग कम कर दी है ताकि वो एक दूसरे के आसपास रहें. तो क्या होगा अगर ये जिंक एनोड्स नहीं होती और अगर कहीं भी तुम्हारा पेंट डैमेज होगा तो क्या होगा, there will be galvanic cell because ship is immersed in water, that is sea water, that is electrolyte. There will be galvanic cell formed between the ship's steel and the material of which this propeller is made. In this case, the steel being less noble will act as anode and the steel would have been eaten up and it will get corroded. To protect that, what you have done is you have welded these zinc anodes. तो क्या होगा कि अब जो गैल्वेनाइक सेल बनेगा वो बेसिकली जिंक की प्लेट्स और प्रोपेलर के बीच में बन जाएगा. These will sacrifice. तो compared to the zinc, this part of the hull, the steel hull, has become will act as a cathode in respect to these zinc anodes. So zinc anodes will get eaten up and your ship's hull shall be protected. Is that clear now, beta?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we have ICCP, impressed current systems. These systems are applicable to protection of the immersed external hull only. ये सिर्फ external hull के लिए है. They are not used in tanks. जैसा अभी हमने कहा था, zinc anodes can be used in tanks as well. The principle, ये क्वेश्चन काफी बार आता है ICCP का बेटा, बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आता है एग्जाम में अगर आप पास पेपर देखोगे तो. The principle of the system is that,
बहुत बढ़िया.
ये बहुत बार आता है. The principle of the system is that a
Yes.
voltage difference is maintained between the hull and the fitted anode. Now these anodes are basically fitted to the ship, and आप उन anodes को और ship के hull के बीच में एक potential difference maintain करते हो, ताकि ये जो anodes हैं, these are the anodes, and in comparison to these, the ship's hull acts as a cathode. The moment ship's hull acts as a cathode, it will be automatically protected. So the principle of the system is that a voltage difference is maintained between the hull and the fitted anodes, which will protect the hull against corrosion, but it should not overprotect it because it will lead to wastage of current. For normal operating conditions, the potential difference is maintained by means of externally mounted silver chloride cells, reference cells, detecting the voltage difference between itself and the hull. So there are cells mounted, reference cells which are mounted. They will keep measuring the potential difference between the reference cell and the hull. Whatever the reference cell measures is passed on to the controller. So an amplifier controller is used to amplify the micro range reference cell current, and it compares it with the preset protective potential value that is to be maintained. So आपने एरिया और हल एरिया को देख के आपने एक प्रीसेट प्रोटेक्टिव पोटेंशियल आपने कैलकुलेट की हुई है. ये जो आपका रेफरेंस सेल से इनपुट आया, this is compared with the preset protective potential value that is already fed in. If there is a difference between the two, this difference is basically sent out to the reactor. What does the reactor do? The reactor draws current from the ship system, and this supplies the current to the anodes, because so that the anodes can act, these anodes can always remain as anodes. So it will basically apply that current. So using the amplified DC signal from the controller, a reactor controls a larger current from the ship's electrical system that is supplied to the hull anode. So DC current will be supplied to the hull anodes, and who will control that? The controller will give a signal to the reactor, and reactor will apply that current to the hull anodes. An AC current from the electrical system would have to be rectified to DC before it is applied to the anodes. Originally, consumable anodes were employed, but in the recent systems, non-consumable, relatively noble materials are used. These include lead, silver, and palladium alloys, and the platinized titanium anodes are also used. So these are the researches which keep taking place. So you get newer and newer anodes, materials which can be used as anodes. This is the diagram you'll have to draw, beta, if this question comes. In this diagram, these are the anodes which are fitted. ये यहाँ एक सेट यहाँ लगा दिया, एक सेट यहाँ लगा दिया. इन सेट्स को हम फाइनली वोल्टेज देंगे, डीसी करंट देंगे, राइट, टू प्रोटेक्ट द शिप्स हल. उसको करंट कहां से आएगा? करंट देगा रिएक्टर. रिएक्टर कहां से ड्रॉ करेगा? शिप की पावर से. Who will control the reactor की कितना पावर देना है? That will be controlled by the controller. How will the controller decide कितनी पावर देनी है? It will basically compare the potential difference between the ship's hull and the reference cell, and this will be compared with a preset value, and then it will decide कि कितना current देना है, and that messaging from the controller will go to the reactor. Reactor will draw the power, rectify it into DC, and apply to these anodes, so that these fitted, let me use the word electrodes. Electrodes cover both anode and cathodes. These fitted electrodes are supplied current by the reactor, so that these electrodes act as anodes. So you will never allow them to act as cathodes. They will remain anodes with respect to the ship's steel, and that is how the ship's hull shall be protected by impressed current cathodic protection system, also called as ICCP. तो एग्जाम में अगर ICCP आएगा तो बेसिकली दे आर टॉकिंग ऑफ दिस इम्प्रेस्ड करंट कैथोड प्रोटेक्शन सिस्टम. इज दैट क्लियर बेटा? एनी क्वेश्चंस ऑन ICCP? ये बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आता है, पहले बता दिया, बाद में नहीं कहना हमें पता नहीं था. Then the last method of
Yes,
protecting
sir.
the material is by paints, which you are all familiar with. Paints intended to protect against corrosion consist of pigment, which is dispersed in a liquid called as the vehicle. These are the constituents of the paint. One is the pigment, and it is basically suspended in the vehicle. When spread out thinly, the vehicle changes in time to an adherent dry film. Paint dries up. The drying may take place through one of the following processes, any one of the following processes. When the vehicle consists of solid resinous material dissolved in a volatile solvent, तो अगर vehicle आपका solvent जो है volatile solvent का बनेगा, तो क्या होगा? Once you apply, the volatile solvent will dry up, and if that dries up, that will leave a dry paint of film of paint, and that will protect the surface. Or a liquid like linseed oil, if it is what makes the basically vehicle, may produce a dry film by reacting chemically with the surrounding air. So linseed oil, when जब तक ड्रम में बंद है तब तक ठीक है, जब उसको आपने अप्लाई कर दिया, it comes in contact with the atmospheric air, it reacts with the air, and that's what dries it up, and that's how a dry film may be produced. Or else, we are all familiar with the modern paint scheme. A chemical reaction may occur between the constituents of the vehicle after application to produce a dry film. The reactive ingredients may be separated in two containers, two pack paints like the epoxy paints which you have seen. कि आपके दो अलग अलग कंटेनर्स में अलग अलग पेंट्स हैं, आपने उनको मिक्स किया, अप्लाई किया, then the reaction is not with the air, the reaction is between the two constituents which have been mixed up before application, and that reaction leads to drying up of the paint. So paints may dry up either because of they had the volatile liquid in it, solution in it, or maybe it had the constituents which reacted with air to form a dry film, or it had the constituents which were mixed before application and they chemically react with each other to form the dry film. That's how the protective coating is formed in the paints. I'm going to the next slide. कुछ question है for बोलो फटाफट. बेटा सरफेस प्रिपरेशन फॉर पेंट में भी कई बार क्वेश्चंस आए हैं इस पे भी, सरफेस प्रिपरेशन पे भी. Good surface preparation is essential to successful painting. We all know this. The primary cause of many paint failures being the inadequacy of initial material preparation. The most common methods employed to prepare steel surfaces before painting are blast cleaning, pickling. Pickling means आपने प्लेट को किसी एसिड में डिप करके उसको निकाल लिया, that is तो ऊपर की सरफेस साफ होगी, that is pickling. Flame cleaning, cleaning with a flame. Preparation by hand, chipping by hammer or by say chipping machines. High pressure water blasting. These are all the methods that can be deployed to basically prepare the surface. How do we describe the standard of preparation? Preparation का standard क्या है? मेरी जो surface preparation है वो किस level की मैंने की है? How is it described? Now there are standards which describe the surface preparation. These standards are set by different organizations. One such organization is SSPC, Society for Protective Coatings. Another such organization is NACE, National Association of Corrosion Engineers International. And another one is Swedish standards. So all these different bodies have come out with the standards, but their underlying concept, the standards may be described using different symbols and numbers, but underlying concept remains the same, irrespective of whether it is SSPC, NACE, or Swedish. The standards are primarily divided into 4 standards of cleanliness. One is called as brush off. Brush off means आपने hard brushing कर दी, जिससे loose scales, loose rust, and foreign materials are removed. That is one level of preparation. दूसरा level is commercial, in which the mill scale, rust, and foreign particles are substantially removed and gray metal is visible. They are substantially removed, not totally removed. Then there is something called as near white metal in the increasing order of preparation. Mill scale rust and foreign particles are removed to the extent that only traces remain in the form of spots and stripes. They are almost removed now. The cleaned surface will show varying shades of gray. That's how you can make out whether it's near white or commercial. And last, the highest level of surface preparation is the white metal. Visible mill scale rust and foreign particles are entirely removed. The cleaned surface should have a uniform metallic color, but may show varying shades of gray when viewed at different angles. So, जो सबसे highest standard of preparation is white metal, उससे कम near white metal, उससे कम commercial और उससे कम brush off. Now, these levels are described by different notations depending on which standards are you following, whether you are following NACE, Swedish or SSPC, and how they are connected. They are like this. Like if you say brush off, if you prepare to brush off level, then NACE will call it as number 4 preparation. SSPC will call it as SP7. And Swedish will call SA1. I think on ships we are more used to SA1, SA2, SA2.5. Correct, beta? Okay.
Sir, mill scale क्या होता है? Mill scale?
Mill scale rust, beta, rust.
Rust. Okay.
हाँ जी. So brush off में अगर brush off की level की preparation की तो NACE will describe as के number 4 preparation. SSPC will say SP7. Swedish will say SA1 level of preparation. Next level was commercial. Commercial में क्या होगा? NACE का number 3 हो जाएगा, SSPC का SP6 हो जाएगा और Swedish का SA2 हो जाएगा. Next was near white metal. Near white metal will become 2 for NACE. It will become SP10 for this SSPC, and for Swedish it becomes 2.5, 2.5. And white metal will be Swedish SA3, SSPC SP5, and NACE is number 1. So ये SSPC थोड़ा सा उल्टा सीधा चलता है 7, 6, 10, 5. ये probably I don't know why they've done it so, but NACE is okay. They come to 4, 3, 2, 1. This one, so NACE is as the level increases, their number decreases. Swedish में as the clean preparation level increases, the number increases here. उसमें decrease हो रहा था, इसमें increase हो रहा था. SSPC has its own random system for whatever reason. So this is how SSPC would be basically describing these. Judge में I think we are more used to this system SA2, SA2.1, SA2.5 and SA3. Now, blast cleaning, this preparation guide under Swedish system, ये मैं क्यों slide include किया because इसमें एक दो बार question आए अगर आपने past paper देखे हो तो उसने कहा है describe SA2 या SA2.5. अगर आपने देखा हो past paper किसी ने देखा हो तो ये एक आधी जगह मिलेगा, not very frequently but you have question on that, right? So ये मैंने तीनों Swedish के अलग से यहाँ बना दिए हैं ताकि आपको लिखने के लिए कुछ याद रह जाए. What was SA1? SA1 was basically the same as brush off. Brush off क्या था? Loose mill scale, rust and foreign material must be removed. Light blast cleaning, that is SA1 level. What was SA2? SA2 was commercial primarily. What was SA2.5? SA2.5 is near white metal primarily. What is SA3? SA3 is white metal. So ये सारे के सारे मैंने आपको वही चीजें यहाँ दोबारा से रिपीट कर दी हैं ताकि अगर essay के फॉर्म में आपको write a short note on essay 2.5 then you should not be struggling कि essay 2.5 में मैं क्या लिखूं. ये मैंने यहाँ पे दोबारा से उसको रिपीट कर दिया है so that you can just remember and reproduce what essay 2.5 means or what essay 3 would mean if such a question is asked, because usually हमारे questions जो आते हैं वो Swedish standard पे आएंगे. Is that clear, बेटा?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we now quickly run through the paint system on ships. Time कितना हो गया बेटा? What's the time?
Sir, 42 हो गए.
42. ठीक है. कितना कौन सा slide है ये? एक मिनट. कितना कौन सा slide है? Paint system on ships is 32. 52 के मैंने क्लास डलवाई नहीं है एक्चुअली, इसके बाद लेट मी रन थ्रू इट या ओके। प्राइमरी पेंट यू ऑल नो बेटा, प्राइमर लगाते रहते हो पूरी जिंदगी, दैट इज फॉर टेम्पररी प्रोटेक्शन कि जैसे जैसे चिपिंग करते गए यू कीप कवरिंग इट सो दैट टिल the finish paint is applied there is a temporary protection. After a seal is blast cleaned, it is desirable to protect the material against rusting until final paint is applied. The primer must be compatible with any subsequent paint finish to be applied. Primer has to be, अगर epoxy final finish paint है तो epoxy primer होना चाहिए, आपका normal कोई paint है तो red lead हो जाएगा, आपका zinc paint है तो zinc chromate होगा आपका primer. तो primer will depend upon what is the type of final finish coating that you wish to apply. Paint system applied to any part of the ship will be dictated by the environment to which it is required to protect. Obviously यार, अगर आप again कुछ past paper देखोगे उसमें आएगा describe the paint scheme on the ships कि टैंक में क्या होगा, इधर क्या होगा, तो आपका सबसे पहला फंडामेंटल ये है कि पेंट सिस्टम कहाँ पे जोन सा भी अप्लाई करोगे वो डिपेंड करेगा आप किस एरिया में पेंट को अप्लाई कर रहे हो. The painting of the external ship was earlier divided into 3 regions. अब थोड़ी सी blurring हो रही है वो demarcation. एक होता था below water line, which are always under water. Then there was something called as boot top region, which was intermittently in water. And then there was top side, जो कि आपकी water line, summer water line के ऊपर होता था. Okay. These days, of course, usually what we say is this boot top region and the top side region are usually now treated as one. This is the older class division that we used to have. What is always below the water line? Next is a boot top, and the third is the top side. Now, tougher paints are used for the ship's bottom. The distinction between regions need not be so well defined. One scheme covering the bottom and the waterline regions. Internally, by far the greatest problem is the provision of coatings for various liquid cargo and sea water ballast tanks. The ship's bottom has primary coating of corrosion inhibiting paint. जो bottom में बात कर रहे हैं बेटा, सबसे पहले वहां पर प्राइमर आएगा. कोरोजन इनहिबिटिंग पेंट इज द प्राइमर. ओके, उसके बाद उसका फिनिश पेंट आएगा और फिनिश पेंट के बाद आपका एंटी फाउलिंग आएगा. एंटी फाउलिंग डायरेक्टली कभी शिप हल पे अप्लाई नहीं होता है. आयरन एलॉय मिक्स्ड immersed in sodium chloride solution having the necessary supply of dissolved oxygen gives rise to corrosion cells with caustic soda produced at the cathodes. Thus, paint used for steel immersed in seawater are required to resist alkaline conditions. So, this is how you decide कि आपको कौन सी जगह पे कौन सा पेंट यूज करना है. तो शिप की वाटर लाइन के लिए the paint should have a good electrical resistance so that the flow of corrosion currents between the steel and seawater is limited, because you want to limit the formation of galvanic cell. So, it should be a insulating should have an insulating effect, so it should have a good resistance to the flow of current. These requirements make the standard non-marine structural steel primer red lead unsuitable for ships used below the waterline. Suitable corrosion inhibiting paints for ships bottoms are pitch or bitumen types, chlorinated rubber, coal tar or epoxy resin or vinyl resin paints. आज के दिन everybody seems to be shifting to epoxy, but these are the various options. They are all suitable for underwater portions. The anti-fouling paint may be applied after the corrosion inhibiting paint, which will comprise of the primer and the finish. Anti-fouling paint should not come in direct contact with the steel hull, as the toxic cup mounts present in the anti-fouling paints may cause corrosion to the ship's hull. Then we come to the boot topping region, which is intermittently in water. Generally, modern practice requires a complete paint system for a hull above the waterline. As I said, now between the top side and the boot top, the demarcation is diminished actually. This may be based on vinyl or alkyd resins or on polyurethane resin paints. Then we have the superstructure paints. जो हम देखते हैं सारे, उसमें बेटा दो चीज हैं, एक तो यूजुअली वाइट हो तो इट शुड नॉट येलो विद टाइम, एंड दूसरा ये है कि दे शुड बी also have glossiness, shine, because they are visible to people, and of course they should do the primary job of protecting the structure. Red lead or zinc chromate based primers are commonly used in the superstructures. White finishing paints are then used extensively for superstructures. These are usually oleoresinous or alkyd paints that may be based on non-yellowing oils. Linseed oil paint that yellow on exposure being avoided on the modern ships. Where aluminium alloy superstructures are fitted, under no circumstance should lead-based paint be applied on it. Aluminium structure पे red lead भी नहीं लगेगा, तो lead-based paints are not to be applied. Zinc chromate paints are generally supplied for application to the aluminium structures. And in cargo ballast and cargo and ballast tanks, you can have possibility of severe corrosion, because the coating may suffer damage if you're carrying heavy cargo, or if you're carrying liquid cargo, then the cargo may be corrosive. Likewise, the ballast in the tanks also could be posing the risk of corrosion in the tanks. So severe corrosion may occur in the ship's cargo tanks as the combined result of carrying liquid cargoes and seawater ballast, with warm or cold seawater cleaning between the voyages. Tankers carrying white oil cargoes suffer more general corrosion than those carrying crude oils, because the crude oil, or the lube oil also for that matter, will deposit a film on the tank surface, providing some protection compared to what the white oils will fail to do. The latter type may, however, experience severe local pitting corrosion due to the non-uniformity of the deposit film and subsequent corrosion of a bare plate when seawater ballast is carried. Epoxy resin paints are used extensively within these tanks, and vinyl resin and zinc-rich coatings may also be used in the cargo and ballast tanks. ये जो मैं करा रहा हूँ, ये तुम्हारे को स्पेशली मेंशन्ड है तुम्हारे सिलेबस में, ये एक दो बार क्वेश्चन में उसमें भी आया है. What is ship's wetted surface area? WSA, wetted surface area. For a vessel floating at a given water line, the total area of its outer surface in contact with the surrounding water is known as the wetted surface area. The surface of the ship's hull that is wetted by the water, because it's immersed in water, that is called as the wetted surface area. The total wetted surface area of a ship depends on its type, block coefficient, किस type का ship है, उसके size पे, obviously it will depend on all these parameters. The ship's hull fouling increases fuel consumption. अगर नीचे में fouling होगी तो ship की fuel consumption बढ़ेगी, speed affect होगी. Ship owners coat the wetted surface with paint to prevent fouling. Now, how do you calculate the wetted surface area? In fact, don't calculate, you estimate the wetted surface area. That is a better term to use. There are various empirical formulae. Empirical formulae means which have no derivation. These formulae are basically hit and trial data ke base pe you have arrived at some thumb rule or a formula. There are various empirical formulae that have been arrived at to estimate the wetted surface area. One such formula is this: CWS into square root of V into L, where WSA is the wetted surface area, V is the volume of displacement at that water line, CWS is the wetted surface coefficient. CWS is wetted coefficient, L is the length of the vessel, and this wetted surface coefficient of a vessel for a ship typically ranges between 2.6 to 2.9. तो एक तो ये फॉर्मूला है बेटा जो कि यूज हो सकता है टू एस्टिमेट द वेटेड सरफेस एरिया. इसी फॉर्मूले को थोड़ा सा इंस्टेड ऑफ वॉल्यूम they have tried connecting to displacement, and then the formula gets modified to this one. WSA is equal to 2.58 into square root of W into L, where in this case, this value basically can be between 2.58 54 to 2.83. CWS की वैल्यू यहाँ चेंज हो जाएगी and this becomes another formula to estimate the wetted surface area. फर्क ये है, पहले वाले में volume of displacement यूज हो रही थी, इसमें उसकी जगह उसने displacement यूज कर ली है. So obviously 1.025 को यहाँ पर account for कर दिया है in this formula. So that is the wetted surface area. बेटा ये आपके सिलेबस में separately mentioned है और पास्ट पेपर्स में एक दो बार ये आया भी हुआ, 2 बार तो मैंने देखा है, उससे पहले भी हो सकता है कभी आया हो. So please make sure you remember this and don't just forget. The last topic from the corrosion part is MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet. It is again picked up here because it's part of your syllabus. MSDS is an important component of product stewardship and occupational safety and health. Product stewardship. What is product stewardship? Is an environmental management strategy. That means whoever designs, produces, sells, or uses a product takes responsibility for minimizing the product's environmental impact throughout all stages of product's life cycle, including end of life management. So basically, you need to take ownership. You need to have the product stewardship to make sure that you minimize its ill effect on the environment throughout its life cycle and also its scrapping or disposition at the end. It is intended to provide workers, what MSDS is intended to provide workers and emergency personnel with procedures for handling or working with the substance in a safe manner. It includes information such as physical data, toxicity, health effects, first aid, reactivity, storage, disposal, protective equipment, and spill handling processes. MSDS formats can vary from source to source within a country, depending on the national requirements. There is also a duty to properly label substances on the basis of physical, chemical, health, and environmental risk. A MSDS for a substance is not primarily intended for use by general consumer. It's not for the consumer, it's the people who handle the material, focusing instead on the hazards of working with the material in an occupational setting. In some jurisdictions, the MSDS is required to state the chemicals risk, safety, and effect on environment as well. It is important to use an MSDS specific to both country and the supplier, as the same product can have different formulation in different countries. The formulation and hazard of a product using a generic name may vary between manufacturers in the same country. So it has to be manufacturer, supplier specific and also the country specific. बेटा लास्ट में आपको MSDS शीट मैंने एशियन पेंट्स की यहाँ पेस्ट की हुई है आपके, so that you see how it looks like. It has certain sections. Section 1 talks of material identification and use, and you get all these details out here. Section 2 talks about hazardous ingredients in the material. Section 3 talks about physical data of the material. Section 4 talks about fire and explosion hazards associated with the material. Section 5 is the reactivity data. Section 6 is toxicological properties of the material. Section 7 are the preventive measures in what PPE you should use and what should you do. And Section 8 includes the first aid information and the measures in case somebody comes in contact with the material. Section 9, date and preparation of the material data sheet. And then you have this declaration, and then it's signed by the competent people, so that this is how the MSDS of Asian Paints looks like. So this MSDS also, like wetted surface area, you have had questions in the past. And these are mentioned in the syllabus, that is under corrosion. That's why these have been included in this part of the syllabus, and then it's included in the corrosion notes. So please go through it. This was the last I think we had about corrosion.